So, Nora, um, for a family that's entering this space, what resources are out there to help with care coordination or to help coordinate care for a family?
Yeah, great question. There are so many various resources. We very commonly will connect our clients to supplemental security income, food stamps, food pantries, mental health services, counseling support. This past summer, we had a lot of Wi-Fi support and back to school supplies, furniture, clothing banks, housing support, utility support, transportation, mostly through the managed care plans, which is really a wonderful benefit of the managed care plans, legal aid, interpreter services, and so much more. We are consistently researching and building relationships with various resources in the community and various agencies across the state of Ohio. Sometimes it is almost overwhelming how much there is and how much there is to access. So we have a resource committee that helps us keep everything organized. It helps to disseminate the information that we need as care coordinators when maybe we're not really sure what a resource could look like for a given request. The resource committee really does help us to stay organized and be able to access everything we can as easily as possible.
Wow, it seems like that care coordinator is really this hub, if you will, of all these resources and things that are maybe kind of swirling around a family because of what they're dealing with in a very tangible way every day. They're not able to pull it all out of the atmosphere into one whole. Really sounds like you all know how to pull and manage these pieces together to get a family what they need.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. It can be overwhelming, even from the perspective of working as a care coordinator, to have an entire team behind myself to then be able to present it as hopefully as clearly and concisely as we can to families, so that can be as easily accessible for them to connect to. That really is a wonderful, a big part of what we do in care coordination.
I know in our family's case, thankfully, and we're so fortunate, we weren't entering this space with needs around housing or food and those pieces. But where we entered as a family that was transitioning into a stage of the disorder that presented a lot of medical challenges with no answers, a lot of knowns, a lot of appointments for EEGs where seizures they just don't tend to show up when you need them to show up, those types of things. We were struggling with our mental health and wellness. I had an adolescent male that was really battling having to deal with all of this and his identity space of peers and all, as a mom trying to help him hold it together. Our care coordinator really stepped in to help marshal those resources for us. Find a therapist that had the experience of working with adolescents who were dealing with a lot of change in this way, and unknown. And then to help me as a mom in this space, not being familiar with how to move a kid through this as healthfully as possible. She really did the research that you were talking about, and she found places in our community, because I'm sure like a lot of families, we were traveling to one of the best research centers to get incredible care, but it was not in our backyard. So she was able to help us find the resources in our community to get him to an incredible therapist, to get me to a support group and eventually a therapist, and then provided services, counseling services for us until we could kind of be graduated out and into our own systems. I really value the work that you and your team do every day. And, it makes me think about, as a family showing up to you all, what kind of questions can they ask you? I know the kinds of questions I had, but I'm curious from where you sit, what kind of questions can they ask their care coordinator?
Yeah, Thank you for sharing your experience too with your personal care coordination provider. We really encourage a lot of the discussion and questions at that initial enrollment process. It is a long conversation. It is very in-depth, and typically that is when a lot of those resource needs or specific considerations that your family is going through really come to the table. Of course, that initial enrollment discussion, it really does inspire a lot of the trajectory of the work that you and your care coordinator will take on together. As the needs for your family evolve, though, of course, as they will, because life is complicated and messy and things change, you and your care coordinator will be in communication for every twist and turn, right? Sometimes it's the family providing the care coordinator with updates on things they have accomplished, things that they have connected with. Other times it's updates as to what your family might be interested in learning more about as your needs change, right? So really anything in the pursuit of reaching the care coordination goals for your family is on the table. If your care coordinator doesn't know the answers to your questions right away, we then will work collaboratively with the medical providers, with the behavioral health providers, the specialty clinicians, community agencies, our own teammates, whoever it is that might be able to help to get you and the family on the path and to get you the answers that you're looking for.